Ahoy and welcome to this Narrowboat adventure. Today we're going to be talking about messing up. So I know a lot of the times on this channel I show you very nice things that I really like about boating, and so I thought it was time to take a bit of time and talk about when things go horribly wrong, because they do often go horribly wrong. There have been many times when I've thought, what was I thinking, moving on to a narrowboat, everything's gone wrong. And there's a lot of times when things go wrong that mean that we don't have power, which also means we don't have water. And so I thought I'd go over some of those times and we can relive the awful memories together. As the time has gone on, I've realised these things are bound to happen and you just have to get on with it. And we have our ways of dealing with them. We have fairy lights, we have bottled water. We always have bottles of water as an emergency. So these things do happen and they're just a reality that you have to face. You can't hold it against your boat. She loves you, but she's not perfect. The first thing that went horribly wrong for us was on our maiden voyage. We were crossing paths with our first boat. We'd never gone past a boat before. Miraculously, we didn't hit the other boat, but we did go under a tree to avoid it. We managed to avoid knocking our chimney with a low branch, but we did rip off a vent from the roof. Thankfully, the vent wasn't doing anything. It was from a previous heating system that the boat had. But it did take about 3 or 4 months, maybe a bit longer, to get that fixed. So we just had to duct tape it back on until then. And I can't tell you how heartbreaking it was to almost immediately break my shiny new boat. When we first got the boat, we didn't realise how the shower worked. We thought that it didn't work properly because we hadn't turned the knob all the way around. So for about a month, we didn't have any showers on the boat that weren't with water heated on the stove with a kettle. And then we realised our error and realised that we did have a working shower on the boat. We've had ongoing issues with our alternator. To start with, the alternator shook a lot, and we thought it was because we had the wrong alternator. So wires came off a couple of times, and for a week or so we didn't have any power. Then we went on a trip down the Thames and the mounting bracket completely snapped. Luckily, the first time that happened, we were moored near a yachting club, and there was a man there who, for not very much money, welded it back together for us. The next time we went down the Thames, which was about a month later, the same thing happened again. That time we were not so lucky. We weren't moored anywhere near that guy. We were right down the other end of the River Way, or is it the Way Cut? Whichever one it is. So we did the entire journey back from the Way Cut all the way to London in 2 days, which is no feat. We were doing 12-hour days and it was ridiculously rainy and horrible. We'd planned to do that trip in about a month, and we did that and we got it fixed. Basically, we had a completely new mounting bracket from a second-hand version of our current engine and realised we had the correct alternator all along. It was just a dodgy bracket. So that was kind of a relief. Yes, and then there was the time when my partner was in the bathroom and turned the tap, and the pump normally makes a particular noise and it made a kind of different noise, and I said, "Is there any water coming out?" "No." "Ah! Horror! Something's leaking somewhere." Quickly, we ran to the fuse box, turned off the pump, and then spent about an hour trying to find the leak, which we eventually found under our bed, our calorifers under the bed, and it'd only been off for about 30 seconds, but let me tell you, there's a lot of water that can come out in 30 seconds. So that took about a week of sleeping on the couches and having a blazing fire, trying to heat through the boat, and fans on the patch that was all wet. So that was a joy. And it really solidified in our minds that we should definitely be turning the electricity off when we leave the boat, so that should that happen again while we're not here, our entire boat doesn't fill with the water from our water tank. And then there was the time we drove our chimney into a bridge. We'd been recently under a low bridge and it had loads of signs on it, so when we came to this next bridge we thought, yeah, that looks quite low, but it doesn't have signs on it, so it's probably all right. And then we ripped our chimney off. Again, we just resealed the chimney, everything was fine. It was a bit of a pain in the butt though. and it felt like everything was going wrong. Thankfully it happened in summer, so it wasn't too cold. And then recently we had some work done, so we had to empty out the water tank so the boat would sit a bit higher in the water. So for about 3 or 4 weeks we had no water, and then my partner held my ankles while I leaned over the side of the boat and painted it, so that was quite fun. Even at the moment we have some things that are not quite as we'd like them to be. We're having an ongoing issue with some wiring, and we don't know quite what's gone wrong there yet, but we are in the process of fixing it. And you kind of realise that boating is not all sunshine, roses and romance. Things go wrong, horribly wrong, but then you fix them and you feel like a badass because you fixed them yourself, and you get to know your boat and you think of it as a she, and you forgive it for being grumpy sometimes. Let me know in the comments if things have gone horribly wrong in your house and you fixed it and felt like a badass. Press subscribe if you want to join us again on this Narrowboat adventure, and if you'd like to, you can search this Narrowboat adventure on Facebook and you can find me there. My name's Jasmin, thanks for watching, bye!